Hey Ladybirds, cheers and happy Thursday. I'm Janelle and nice to meet you if we haven't met before. And I help lead the team at Hey Ladybirds, which is an incredible group of women. And just want to give you a little bit of vision. I don't know how you came here. Maybe it was from one of our blog posts or social media posts or our website. But however you made it here, we are so glad. Our heart is to cultivate women with stories of truth and hope so that you'll grow in the goodness and the grace of God. We believe that this is the eternal word of God, that this is his voice, his breath on a page right here. And we know that it's the only place that you're going to find truth, that you're going to find peace and joy and contentment, is what God is offering us here, no matter what season that you're in. And so we're pretty new at this thing. So glad that you're here. Share this with all your friends. There's going to be more great content. We want to be authentic. We want to show our broken sides, but we also want to give you some help, some resources. We want to give you encouragement and prayer, and we want to cheer you on this race that you're on. The pom-poms, we're going to cheer you on. That is our heart. We know that women go through all different seasons. I have friends that are single and struggling with that, and some that are content in that. I have friends that are parenting toddlers and some that are parenting adult children, which, just side note, you moms of toddlers, enjoy the diaper and feeding season right now, because parenting adults is much harder. That is a much harder season that no one tells you about. So even though you're tired with the little ones, it's much harder later on. That will be a blog or a video at some point. But we want to encourage you. Maybe you're in a job that you don't like. Maybe you're in work that you love and you are thriving in your career. But you need to know how to balance, how to be in the Word, and how to balance work life. Whatever it is, in all these different seasons, that's what Hey Ladybirds wants to be. We want to be your sideline cheerleaders. And so that's a little bit about what we're doing. Here's what we're going to do with these vlogs. They're going to be literally 10 or 15 minutes long. Every week, every other week. It's a place for you to come. You're going to hear different people. It won't always be me. But we want to encourage and cheer you on, like I said. So we're going to tell you, you can do it. We promise you can. We're going to hopefully give you resources. We may talk about how to be in the Word more, how to do a Bible study plan, how to memorize the Word, how to fast and pray. But we also may be talking about parenting and how to just find time to have a quiet time. Or we may be talking about what does it look like for my kids after they leave the nest? What does it look like to be a good friend to this friend of mine that's going through a divorce? What if I don't agree with them politically or what they're saying on their Facebook post? All these things we want to talk about, but we want to always be grounded in the Word. So that's the goal of the vlogs, is to be really short, be really practical, and a place that you can come and be encouraged on a weekly basis. A little bit about me. I'm going to give you 5 things really quick, because that could be a long story in itself. 1, my family. I am married. I've been married for 30 years. I have 4 incredible kids that I adore. 3 boys, and then the baby is a girl. And I have 3 daughter-in-laws, and I have 4 grandchildren. I had to think about it in my head real quick. Adore and love them all. These are my favorite people, and I would by far spend all of my free time with them if I could, if I didn't get on their nerves so much. Second thing about me is that I am from the South. I'm from Chattanooga, so you're going to hear a little bit of twang when I talk. I love being in the South. I love it. I think it's full of hospitality. But I did live in Texas for a few years, so there's a piece of my heart that is in Texas, but I don't want to go back. Third is that I have suffered with anxiety and depression. I've suffered with panic attacks since I was 15. It's been a real struggle. I went through almost 7 years of a depression, a very dark place. I was, at that time, I had been married almost 20 years and my kids were teenagers, and so everything looked good on the outside, but things were not good on the inside. And God is still and continues to work through that anxiety and depression, but I can relate to a lot of you women that are out there and that suffer with that. Number 4 is that I love the Word. And I haven't always been like that. I didn't grow up in the church, so I didn't grow up reading it or knowing it. But during that dark night of the soul, the Lord bound me to this Word, and I now love it, every bit of it. I read the entire Bible as often as I can. I think I'm on number 13 going through it right now, and I have learned to memorize it. Because I've seen the advantages of doing that and getting it embedded into my heart. So you'll hear more about that on our website and through Hey Ladybirds as well, that I love the Word. So that's number 4. And number 5 is that I was a cheerleader growing up. Again, hence the pom-poms. And this wonderful picture that my mom texted me last week. I was a cheerleader growing up, and it's interesting because I am a diehard introvert. I don't really thrive being around groups of people, and cheerleaders are. But I love encouraging people. I love it, especially women, because I believe there is power and there is peace and joy ahead for you and in the season that you're in. And so that brings me to this vlog, this first one. We're going to be posting today about this book called Restless. I mentioned it in the blog that was at the beginning of the week called Labor Day. I went through this book about 6 years ago. I was transitioning into being an empty nester and was really struggling. I did not have a college degree. I had not had a full-time job. And so I was like, God, what do you want from me? This next season, I don't even know what it looks like. I don't even have any expectation. I don't know. And so I picked this book up, not really knowing anything about the book. I knew who Jenny Allen was because she is a Christian speaker and author, but I didn't know much about it. And I started reading through it and realized it was a book that also had assignments, which I hate those kind of books, okay? I was on a road trip coming back from Texas to Atlanta, and the Lord said, I want you to pick up a pencil, and I want you, yeah, I'm a pencil girl. I want you to do the assignments in this book. I want you to journal. And I did it, again, reluctantly. I'm kind of a rebel at heart. And so I started journaling, and I realized, God, you want to untangle the threads of my past and my present, and you want to create something beautiful in my future. And it may look messy, but that's okay. And so that's where this book comes in. And so it's interesting because one of the pages in here, I still have it written down, again, like I told you, 6+ years ago. And it was talking about your passions. And I had put in here, one of my passions is to encourage and support and cheerlead women through their seasons. And so we're going to do a giveaway of this book, and we're going to give away a couple of copies of this. And so hopefully you will take the challenge, you'll read it, and you'll do the assignments, and then you'll share with us what God is doing in and through that. I love it because Paul uses the illustration of a race more than once in his letters to the churches. He does it in Philippians and Corinthians and Romans, and he's talking to people, and I think because you can picture it, right? You can understand a race. Okay, so a few years ago, I did the Peachtree Road Race, and I'm not a fast runner. I like to run, but I'm not fast. But it's really interesting because on the Peachtree Road Race here in Atlanta, it's a 10K, so a little bit further than your normal 5K. There's one piece of the race that's really hard. I think it's called Heart Attack Hill, right in front of a hospital, just in case you have a heart attack. But it's uphill, and usually it's on the 4th of July, sans COVID season. And it is hot, people. It's hot to run this race. But as you're running all alongside the roads, all the way down, all the way to Piedmont Park where this race ends, are people. And people have pom-poms. They're dressed up. They have face paint. And they are cheering you on. And so when you think, I'm too hot, I'm too thirsty, I can't make it, there's somebody right there with a cup of Gatorade. And they're cheering you on to the next mile marker. And you run a little bit further. And all of a sudden you see somebody with a box of Krispy Kreme. Yeah, that happens at the Peachtree Road Race. And they're like, have a donut, have a little bit of sugar, get a hit. You're going to make it to the next mile marker. And you have these cheerleaders on the race. And there's something about it when you're running that you're like, oh, okay, I can do this. And if the cheering is loud, if there's some loud music, or if people are really yelling a lot, you're like, let's go. And you pick up the pace. You feel the strength. Their encouragement gives you endurance to make it to the next thing. And Paul already knew that. Paul was telling the church and using the race as an illustration. And he says this in 1 Corinthians 9. He says, do you not know that those who run in a race all run? They run for the prize. So run in such a way that you may obtain it. He tells us that in Corinthians. We at Hey Ladybirds want you to run the race that God has for you. It's amazing, and it's going to be hard. There's going to be some hills, like that heart attack hill. There will be, I promise. But we want to be the people on your sidelines, or maybe even running alongside you with the pom-poms. We are here for you. We want to encourage you. We want to be authentic. We want to give you stories of truth and hope to direct you to God's goodness and grace and mercy and healing and wholeness. And so join us on this journey. We're going to be vlogging. Invite your friends. We're excited to meet you, to come alongside you. So thanks for joining us, and we will see you in the next couple weeks. Bye, Ladybirds, and cheers.